Okay, I'm going to try to finish up. I think the last couple of problems I kind of got cut off because I had to go do some stuff for school, but I'm back now. So this is the second part two. We're going to finish up on number 22. Actually, I'm just going to start it over. Um, let's look at number 22. They're asking us to solve this by completing the square. So let's go through all the steps. We'll start with what they give us. X squared plus 12x plus 5 equals 0. So our steps then would be since we can't factor, we want to complete the square. We're going to get rid of the 5. So to do that, we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. And that gives us this right here, x squared. There should be a squared there. Okay. X squared plus 12x, and I'm going to leave a space, equals negative 5, and a space there. So now what I'm going to do is add something to this place here. What I do is take half of this number, which is 6, and add it. So plus 36. So over here, plus 36. So that becomes, this factors now to be x plus 6 squared equals, I think I did this wrong last time, negative, that's going to be 31. And if I were to continue the problem, now I would take the square root of both sides. So I would say, let's look at what I would say. Now I would have x plus 6 squared equals 31. I would take the square root of both sides and take the square root of this and the square root of this with a plus or minus. And that would leave me with x plus 6 equals plus or minus the square root of 31. And then the last step would be to subtract 6 from both sides. So x would equal negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 31. Now they're saying, at which of the following equations would you arrive? I want to see one of these equations in this thing, and I do see it right here. So that's the answer right there. Okay, next problem. Solve this. Now, some people start to do a whole bunch of stuff. Whenever we see this, we start to try to FOIL, and we say c minus 2 times c minus 2, and we go through a whole rigmarole, and we get, not x, we get c squared minus 4c plus 4 equals 5. We say, well, now what are we supposed to do? And it doesn't work that way. So this doesn't give us any answers because it doesn't help us. We're already in position to do the next step. So what I'm going to do is look at this and say, well, why don't I just take the square root of both sides? So I've already got to the point c minus 2 squared equals 5. And now if I took the square root of both sides, that's plus or minus the square root of 5. So now I have c minus 2, because the squareds cancel with the square roots. C minus 2 equals plus or minus the square root of 5, and now the last step would be to add 2 to both sides. So c equals 2 plus or minus the square root of 5. And that's the answer here, which is this one right here. And now a couple more problems, 24. Okay, we're asked to, see now solving, a lot of times we try to plug in, it's hard to plug this thing in, so we're not going to try to do that. We will try to complete the square though. So the first step would be to write this again, but I'm going to do a little bit of work with it. I'm going to leave a space because I know something's going to go there so I can complete the square. And I'm going to pick a number here that makes this a perfect square, so it ends up to be something squared. And what happens is, to get this number, what we do is we take half of this coefficient right here. Half of negative 4 is negative 2, and then square it. So negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So I add 4 here, and I also add 4 here. So now this will factor to be x minus 2 squared. Half of this number will always go right here. If you don't believe yourself, sometimes you want to check, go ahead and do x minus 2 times x minus 2, and you'll see it ends up being exactly that. And that will be equal to 12 in this problem, because 8 plus 4 is 12. So now to get rid of the square root sign, I want to take the square root, get rid of the squared sign. The squared, I take the square root. And I take, it's always plus or minus. So the square root of a square will cancel. These will cancel with this, and I'm left with x minus 2. equals plus or minus the square root of 2. Excuse me, not 2, that's a 12. I can't read my writing. A 12. So I add 2 to both sides. So x equals 2 plus or minus the square root of 12. And that's the answer, except for that's not written here. So I have to go back and remember my rules of simplifying radicals. And the square root of 12 is the square root of, to get 12 is going to be 2 times 2 times 3. That's 4 times 3. And now to simplify the square root, I circle things that are common. Cross off one of them, the other one comes out front. So it's 2 square root of 3. So this would become x equals 2 plus or minus 2 square root of 3. So that's going to be 2 plus 2 square root of 3 and 2 minus 2 square root of 3. So A would be the answer for that one. And now the last problem on the exam was just a basic simplifying term. So what we want to do is whenever you have things like with a minus in the middle or some kind of some addition or subtraction here, we want to write it without parentheses. Now that doesn't mean we just disregard the parentheses, because this would be then, if I did it without this, nothing in front of this parentheses doesn't affect this entire polynomial here. So 5b to the third minus 2b to the second minus 9. This negative sign, though, goes to each term in here. So it becomes minus 4b to the second. The negative distributes to here to be minus 6b. And then it distributes to here to be negative times a negative is positive, so plus 9. And now what I'm going to do is simplify by combining like terms. So first thing I'm going to do is look for all the highest power, which is b to the third. That's right here. So there's only one of them, so it's going to be 5b to the third. And I've already eliminated these two problems, or solutions. And now we're going to go to the next, so that's gone. Now I go to the b to the second. So that's right here. I'll do a different color just to show it. That's right here and right here. So negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6b to the second. That's out. Uh-oh. Oh, wait a minute. And that's out. There we go. So that's good. Now I'm going to go to what's left is there's only one of these negative, there's only one b term, and that's this one right here. So it's going to be minus 6b. And then the last one, oh, I wrote this wrong. Let's see what's happening. Hopefully you picked that up on my thing. This is not a 9. I was looking over here when I saw this. This is actually a 1 because minus 1 or plus 1 there. Okay, sorry about that. So now I look at negative 9 plus 1 is negative 8. So that's what the answer is right here. Okay. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Sorry about the confusion right here and then the splitting up of the two videos. I just got called out of the classroom and I want to send that first one before it got too late. Okay. Have a good night, and we'll work on it a little bit tomorrow and for first and third period at least. And if you have questions with the other ones, I'll try to be in here during lunchtime. You can come in and get some help then. Okay, thanks.